How's it going, everyone? We're going to review Star Wars The Rise of Skywalker, because what the world needs is more millennials with opinions on the internet. With me today is Owen, Sarah, and Stephen. I'm Daniel, and let's go.
I thought it was shit. I kind of sat in the whole Rise of Mary Sue camp.
I mean,
the moment
she's
it happened,
not,
I was like,
not one.
No,
but
and even in this, like, they just kind of went, she spent years training under Leia, so fuck you, Mary Sue people.
that was the bad thing.
Yeah.
Oh no, year. I think the most I've heard this movie takes
Is
after
at least
is
a
year.
But
because Finn's hair is this much longer.
Yeah, in Jedi time, though, like Mark Hamill, Luke Skywalker spent equal amount of time with Yoda as she did with Luke, and then he kind of just trained by himself for a year, and then became.
But also,
Jedi,
they had to get out of the way that Leia was also a Jedi. So they're like, Rey trained under Leia, but also Leia trained under Luke. Don't worry, she's a Jedi.
Yeah.
Although I don't
Her
think she
lightsaber looked real cool. I know.
It was a chunky Luke saber.
I know.
Should have just been a tango. They just still.
So just a retcon, just to like explain her in episode 8, having like
having her marry superpowers.
Yeah.
Her marry Palpatine.
Well, I mean, I guess that's the. I felt like the. I want to get to you guys, but the fucking Rey throwing the lightsaber. Rey throwing. Rey deciding that she was going to exile herself.
But, I just feel like I don't like the characters. I have no reason to like the characters, and I don't know why they're here. Even though, yes, plot, puts all this shit together for you to be like, "Ooh, this is why they're there." But, what did I say for this last one? We were sitting there, and I just thought, everyone, it was the first half an hour, first hour even, of this film.
Yep.
Everyone's being an asshole. Everyone's being an asshole to everyone else. And I was like, why? Why is everyone being mean and weird?
I think they were trying to give them,
flaws.
They were trying to make it feel like...
No, their flaws are that they just change in every film and they're just stupid.
They're trying to make them have
because at the end of episode 8, Poe finally meets Rey.
Yeah, which probably should have happened a little earlier. But it was cool. But then they didn't use it at all. Like, it doesn't matter.
No, yeah, and then in this one, it's just they're like trying to... They're trying to do what the one thing I always wanted from Star Wars is just people on an adventure, and that first 40 minutes was people on an adventure, so I was like, I'm happy.
Of this movie?
Yeah, the first
it was Kylo Ren doing things in quick succession.
To catch up, which should have been in the one before.
Yeah, basically, this movie is 2 movies.
Yeah, it is.
Because 8 didn't happen.
Yeah, and then it's his 8. It's JJ's 8. Because I even went, it would have ended with her being told she's a Palpatine. Like, his 8 would have been ended with you're a Palpatine, right? And then...
Like, bah, bah, bah. Or everyone else would have been told, and then they had to deal with the fact that she wasn't.
Yeah.
But anyway, that's
my other issue with these, as a trilogy that's come out, is the first half hour of each of these films has had terrible editing with weird pacing, and I can't handle it. I sit there and I'm like, how have people spent all this money and they can't figure out how to start their film, and they're like, oh fuck, we'll just cut this part. Oh, we probably had like half an hour of other footage we just cut out and stuck other things.
Well, that's why it starts with a little exposition dump in your
title. Which is the whole point. Which is the whole point of it, is that it feels like you're coming in halfway through the story.
Yeah, but you shouldn't. Take 4, A New Hope, 1, however you want to look at it. Basically, the way it starts is they set up the world. They don't set up the characters. They say
bad.
There is a bunch of
evil empire
taking over the world. Everyone's bad. That's the world. Whereas this one and a few others, there's a couple with really shitty title crawls. Instead of setting up the state of the world, which is what you should be doing because it's easy world building, it's kind of like tech. It's cheating. It's cheating.
Sending 2 Jedis for negotiation.
I mean, again, that's just the world. That's not really telling you what the characters do. Whereas this one starts with, you get told that Kylo has done this, this, and this, and you're like, why not show me that? Wouldn't that have been wonderful? But then, that's the thing. Instead of setting up the world, they're telling you what the characters did, which is what a title crawl shouldn't be used for.
What would have been funnier is JJ having his own title crawl at the front of this, just being like, this is what would have happened in my version of episode 8.
It goes for 20 minutes. Instead of the dead speak, it's episode 8 never happened.
Yeah.
The next bit.
Yeah, Luke just wakes up from a fever dream.
He's still an actor, that's fine. Acto was cool. Although every single time I hear acto, I think Act 2. As an Act 2.
What do you say?
The planet is Acto. That's the name of the planet Luke hides out on. And every time I hear it, I hear Act 2. And that Act 2 of the trilogy is literally Act 2. And did they do that? Do they just we need a planet on Act 2? Did you say Acto?
There's a book
That sounds like a
series
really
I love
cool
called
domain.
King Killer Chronicle, and the hero is hiding in a town called Nowhere. He literally is in the middle of nowhere.
Yep.
So, like...
Next point, this whole film was like JJ going, fuck you for not paying off all the shit I set up. So in this film, I'm going to set up 50 things and pay them off in the next 5 seconds after they've been done. Because I was like, cool, this has had all emotional impact because you've just done it
Rey's
straight
parents
away.
mean nothing. Just kidding. Here they are for 10 minutes. All right, that's it. Done. Cool.
And he smashed his helmet. He's fixed his helmet now. Yeah, like fuck you. The helmet was cool.
Also, they still haven't realised that the helmet looks shit unless he has the hood on. If he has the hood and the helmet, he is.
It looks like a duck now for me.
He is so cool. But yeah, it's because it's top heavy. It goes like this and then it goes quack.
Yeah, it's very duck.
Duck is very good. Yeah.
But I get it. Like I know, like you want to go. Oh, JJ wanted the helmet back. It's like no, Disney wanted a new toy. So now you get episode
with the small
9.
droid.
I think it's more JJ wanted the helmet back, but also yes, it's like two birds, one stone.
Yeah,
I'm at odds with that because watching The Last Jedi again, I can appreciate the like symbolism of him smashing the mask after Snoke's being an asshole and saying
because he's a
you're
Darth,
fucking nothing without the mask.
Yeah,
because he's a Darth Vader
so
fan.
But it
like,
just happened really weirdly as well. He's just like take that ridiculous thing off. It's like, but you liked it last movie.
Because I love
fair then.
I love Adam Driver's performance, and I
in
loved him. But no, not yet. Want to.
Okay, I was gonna say just in Marriage Story, not in this.
Because I loved in the first one because you expect a battle, even though we all kind of knew what he would look like under the helmet, the film, when he takes the helmet off, you're kind of expecting a scar.
Yeah.
It's a baby face, young fella.
Yeah, which is perfect.
And the whole
he's
thing is like his
Anakin.
eyes are glassy, and he's like, he's clearly, he's not as badass as he wants people to think he is. And then I think he's the best thing in episode 8.
For sure. He's the best thing in episode 7 as well.
Yeah, 7 and 8 he's incredible. Then in this one it was like
he doesn't have a character.
He wasn't given much to do. So
no, he does.
And literally tossed aside.
Yeah, literally.
That being said,
alright.
He still has more interesting character than anyone else in that film.
Yeah.
To me, I think all the other characters are just boring. And that's saying something because it's not like good in this one.
He at least has development because he's bad and then he turns good.
Your points.
I'm just gonna look at him.
What the fuck are these triangle things? Like, can we start there? What are these triangle things they're finding?
JJ loves maps.
And it was what if.
JJ loves his maps. Episode 7 had a map. Episode 9 has a map.
Oh, that's really shit. I didn't even think of that. I didn't even think that he's like, we need to go somewhere. There's a map for that.
Yeah.
Who has the map? A droid has the map. But we can't solve it because we need to take the droid somewhere.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, logistically, there's fuck-off planets everywhere. You have to have some record of how to get places, right? Like, maps are you need it.
I mean, but also, most things just have navigational data the same way,
you want to be like,
C-3PO.
I've got a feeling that we need to go
I mean, you could just do that.
left in half a mile.
Well, C-3PO has all of the, all the languages in him. So you could just be like, there's a database with all the planets in it. And then, I get that this one wouldn't be on a map. But Acto not being on a map as well, and then this, you've ruined that for me.
Well, then should it be
I didn't hate that before.
If it's all lodged electronically and all the ships have all this navigation
data. It worked fine in 4, 5, and 6. They found their way around.
Can be the little maps for extra things.
4, 5, and 6 they found their way around fine. 1, 2, and 3 they found... Camino wasn't there, and that was a massive deal. But they had everything except Camino. So they had to remove one planet.
Well, so Camino was there, but then, Dooku took it off.
That's what I'm saying. So
it was there.
Yeah, so they had a map of everywhere, including this planet they didn't want, and they just removed that. So, the fact the new trilogy has 2 planets that are but anyway.
Yeah, so this film opens up with Kylo finding Palpatine, to which
the opening dead crawl, it's the first 3 words, is the dead speak. That is the opening title crawl. And then it goes through, the Emperor Palpatine lives.
He's talking to everyone going,
Well, it's like he said that he did a galaxy-wide broadcast or something.
Yes,
but they don't reference that.
An evil broadcast from, Palpatine has come out saying that the Sith are back or something.
Guess who's back? I'd love it if RuPaul was Palpatine.
The title call in this one doesn't build the world in any way. It literally just tells you what Kylo Ren's been doing for the last year.
Forget about Last Jedi.
And then they just mad cut to Kylo doing fucking everything. It's not even a scavenger hunt because there's nothing in the way.
It's like was that Kylo's plot in JJ's episode 8? Was
he going to be? But then he wouldn't have been an antagonist because he wouldn't have been doing anything. It's just nothingness. We don't need it.
Despite
it's starting a new story altogether.
Also,
sorry.
No, I was just despite the editing and pacing issues of the opening, still consistently after The Last Jedi, I was at least like, oh, okay, we're moving through stuff. We're not spending half an hour in a fight scene that I don't understand, where we just got ship shooting at each other, and I'm like, cool, this is
Is your mum there?
Chaos. So at least I was like, oh, okay, there's like a 5 minute, we've got stuff and we're moving along. This is okay. Because I just hated how much The Last Jedi dwelled on.
Yeah.
Everything.
I guess, it was the first non-Last Jedi where it was like Palpatine just goes, I cloned Snoke. Look at all these Snoke clones in the tube I've got.
It's like,
it's expositional.
Snoke's origin. Okay, done, tied up, done.
I really like that Palpatine made Snoke. Like, that's probably the only thing I liked in the whole movie. Because it kind of explains him and his existence.
Yeah, obviously it has to. And like, because it's like, I mean, I remember people at the time of episode 7 going like, we have to take it on faith, they're going to pay off this.
Well, yeah, they're like, who is he? Because like, he's a big mysterious character. You don't, like, Palpatine wasn't so much a big mysterious character, as in, you're like, he's the evil emperor.
He was just the emperor.
Because it's the start. Like, if you start with that. But if you were to do a sequel, so say Harry Potter 1, Voldemort's the bad guy, right? And you're like, cool, Voldemort is the bad guy. And then in Harry Potter 2, they're like, this other guy is the bad guy. And you're like, who is he? He's the bad guy now. Didn't you get the memo?
Yeah, he's the new bad guy. Yeah, it's...
Because we can't have Palps back.
Yeah, it was weird. And like, I do feel like I know they've tried to go, oh, well, you got to have Palpatine because he's the villain of the last 2 trilogies, so it only makes sense. And I was ready for it. Me and my friend said, well, what would piss you off? And he said, Palpatine's behind it all. And I was like, okay.
Yeah, that's fair.
And the fact that within 2 minutes, it's just like, don't worry everyone, Palpatine did everything.
If they even hinted at Palpatine in 8, it would have been fine.
I thought it was going to go as bad as...
in one movie.
I thought it was going to go as bad as like Palpatine was like fucking with Luke and making Luke not want to be a Jedi.
That would have been even worse. Yeah. It's like, we didn't assassinate Luke's character, Palpatine assassinated Luke's character.
Well, they did like, to jump ahead, Luke does full on go, because in the last one, the whole point of the last film is that Jedi and Sith are stupid, which I agree with, and I thought that was an interesting angle. Jedis are like, no emotions. Sith are all about overbearing emotions.
But Luke wasn't really trained that way, is the thing.
Luke was trained traditionally.
I was going to say, in the prequels, they tried to show no emotion, and that's why Anakin was such like a rebel.
And I'm never sure if George intends it to be that, because he doesn't deal
I think he wanted them to be monks. They were warrior monks. But then...
But he doesn't deal with the fact that it's kind of wrong to tell an 8-year-old boy, stop fucking crying.
Well, I was going to say, not even an 8-year-old boy, because they raised them from birth.
They take them from their parents.
Yeah, which I've never got. Like, they should have gone through whether
the Jedi's come into nursery going, just going to do your metachlorian checks.
People,
you're coming with us.
Yeah, it's so weird. The parents just like...
It's prequel.
Yeah, it's either an honor to lose your kids, or you're like...
I always imagine being like... The way samurais were, they're like villages of Jedis, and they raised Jedis the same way samurais were raised. That's how I always pictured it. That it's like an inheritance. Like, your dad was a Jedi, you're a Jedi, your kid's a Jedi.
I'm a Jedi like my father before me. That whole thing.
Like, I guess, to jump ahead where just Luke goes, I was wrong. Bring back the Jedi. The Jedi are awesome. And then the way Rey wins is she calls to the Jedi.
But Luke's still a dick. Like, Luke comes back and he's like, what are you throwing away your saber for, you douche?
Yeah.
Like, walks out.
I think was a lot cheerier in this one.
Yeah.
I liked him a lot better in this one.
I never got the emphasis on the importance of the lightsabers. I like the imagery of, like, Rey is offering Luke
a it's
Excalibur.
Good when you build your own. Like, that's what I like.
Yeah,
like, it's a part of you.
But they made it like it's a power thing.
And why didn't Rey just build a fucking lightsaber?
Yeah, like, she did at the end. She built her own
gold. Oh, that doesn't count at fucking all.
She did she or did she not?
What colour was that?
Gold.
It was yellowy
gold. Yeah.
Again, the first new one, but
I guess that's sort of like
saying... And she made it out of her staff.
Yes, which is what but it's not even a two-ender. Like, it should have been a two-ended lightsaber.
Everyone wanted a two-ender.
It could be.
But like,
really saw one end of it.
Yeah, you saw like a bit of it. You're like, how does that
Did they make it like gold just to say that she's like the first...
she's not good or evil.
She's not good, neutral sort of thing. Because the force is balanced.
I thought the whole thing was that Rise of Skywalker was that there wouldn't be any more Jedi and Siths, and she would train people in the way of Skywalker.
Yeah, that's
fair. There would be Skywalkers, but instead
they did the worst thing possible.
Palpatine's granddaughter is like, I'm a Skywalker.
But I had flashbacks to Solo: A Star Wars Story because like she's when the little alien girl was talking to her originally. and she's like, "Hi, I'm blah 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 blah," and she's like, "That's a pretty name," and then C-3PO was like, "She wants to know what your last name is or what your family name is," and she's like, "I don't have a people." 1,000-yard stare.
Yeah, it's like Rey
and then
Solo.
At the very end when she's like, "Who are you?" She's like, "I'm Rey. Rey. I'm alone. Maybe Rey Solo."
Yeah.
And it's like I would have laughed. I mean, I did giggle as soon as she said, "Who are you?" She's like, "I'm Rey," and then pause. I'm like, "Oh no." And it's like Skywalker. Like, you fuckers. Couldn't have been worse in my opinion for that whole thing.
Yeah, but that's just jumping right to the end. I guess. I suppose what they wanted to do, what JJ wanted to do with this opening 30 minutes, was try and capture probably what he would have wanted in the first place was everyone's friends and everyone's on an adventure, which was the whole episode 5 thing, episode 6. It's
instead of splitting literally your main
instead of splitting everyone up. It's like because that for me is what I like. It's what if I had to say, oh, what you love about Star Wars? It's what Guardians of the Galaxy is, or Firefly. It's all these characters in one ship on adventures, and they all kind of butt heads and elbow each other. I guess for the initial half hour, 40 minutes, you got Poe and Rey, and everyone's kind of being quippy with one another. Okay,
yeah.
I was the most settled into one of these films since I'd say if this way I think if I had to watch one again, I might watch this one again because it is so here's your action set piece, here's your fun, here it is. Like it doesn't.
It felt
because Last Jedi wasn't fun in the most.
It felt too set piecey in this one though. It felt like that
superhero film.
I described the first 20 minutes of this film as suffocating because it's just.
It's really.
I could not breathe. I was just like sitting there.
It's hardcore that first 20 minutes.
And then it suddenly just stops, and then they're like, and now Rey, and it's like this is Rey doing nothing.
Yeah, like floating about, and then the whole Rey goes on the training course. Yeah, like Rey goes on the training course. Hard cut to Kylo. Kylo touches Darth Vader's helmet, and it's like they're trying to bring back the whole why they connected, which I hope you guys can explain because that. When they're at the end, when Palpatine's like, wait, yes, I'm like, is he sucking the Force out of them?
Yes, life Force, because that's
their life force, but she has the Force still.
That goes nicely into my next thing: new Force powers,
which is fine. Yeah. I go new Force powers. It's fine.
Even if they're gods,
it's soft magic. For me, it's like if you watch a new trilogy, we've no idea what's going on. Obi-Wan's first Force power.
You've never seen a Star Wars movie before.
Yeah, but on the opening, Obi-Wan Kenobi, his first use of Force power is making a noise to scare away the little hood people.
I mean, no. They never say that it's the Force. He could be using a horn.
Yeah. Could be using a horn.
They don't show his face,
mate. It's like
it could just be him breather in episode 1. That's small.
Because George is a really simple guy. He'd the Emperor's evil. He should shoot lightning out his fingers. And all of a sudden, that's now like a canonical. They shoot lightning.
But that's
it's like
okay.
I was going to say this. I can't even English because I'm just confused and annoyed. But so they have the whole thing with Rey, and she is even more powerful than we thought.
She's a
she
god.
Has the lightning
explain the
right?
way that because she's Palpatine.
And but then then what's going to happen is Palpatine, who hasn't yet fully restored himself and is connected to an entire fucking machine to keep himself alive, right? I'm assuming.
I think he just liked to float around.
Can easily overpower the two of them. Oh, I'm just gonna here, and you guys can't do anything about it. I'm gonna suck everything out of you. I'm like, but she's being set up as this has so much power she doesn't even know she has yet. And it's just come down to I'm just gonna force you over here.
A soft magic system to me still has rules. Soft magic isn't. I mean, even in because you can pretty much call Harry Potter a soft magic system because it's literally there's a spell for everything.
Which is stupid.
But you need a wand. You need to say the spell up until 6 when suddenly you can do it without talking. But then there's a whole most of that book is it's an incredible skill to not have to say a spell when you cast it. Whereas in this, it's not only the fact that they bring in new Force powers, it's that they bring in multiple. So the first thing we get given is because we already know lightning's a thing. But then all of a sudden Rey can heal. Rey can force
Which is
heal.
kind of funny because spoilers to the episode 7 of Mandalorian.
I haven't seen it, don't spoil it.
God damn it. Okay, so something...
Although I have heard that Baby Yoda tries to use it or something, but then gets put to bed.
Okay, so something happens in the movie which also happens in this episode of Mandalorian, and it's just Okay, so that's a thing now.
That's it. But not everyone that watches this movie watches The Mandalorian, and also they released The Mandalorian 2 days early. It's like so that they could explain it away, but also they wouldn't kill the Star Wars hype. Well, not kill the Star Wars hype, but they wouldn't ruin their launch day in America.
Wait, so episode 7 has the healing thing in it?
Yes, as far as I can tell.
But from the whole thing, I was like, I just went, okay, so the thing that Anakin Skywalker wanted to learn in episode 3 to save Padme, Rey just has.
Also, how much of a dick is Obi-Wan for not just healing
I was about
Qui-Gon?
to say, he could have just gone, I'll heal you, Qui-Gon,
yeah, like
it's
Qui-Gon
fine.
gets stabbed in the chest.
Yeah, but that's what confused me, because I was like...
It's a god power.
But that's the whole thing, like, I mean, this is such a tried thing. Everyone hates the prequels, but everyone loves that one scene in episode 3 where it's Darth Plagueis the Wise.
Oh, I mean, no, that's a meme. They don't love it. It's a hilarious camp meme.
But it's like a good scene. It's
that's the thing. Palpatine is perfect at camp. Ian McKellen.
He just loves being evil.
That's wrong.
Ian
that's
McDormand.
Ian McDormand.
He loves being evil.
Yeah, it's campy evil, and it just works so well, which is why that gets away with it.
Yeah, it's like, but this is the whole thing, like episode 8 weaponizes hyperspeed. Like, why didn't we just do that to the Death Star? And then in this
they explain it's like it was a 1 in a million thing.
But why?
When was that explained?
Oh no! In this movie, it's not even. It's not explained.
It's just offhand comment by Finn.
It's another retcon.
Like
basically.
Yeah.
So,
really?
Yeah. One of the guys was like, "Why don't we just do a holdo movie?"
I think it's Pippin.
And Finn's like, that was a 1 in a million thing.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
I completely just say, why not just holdo it? And they
what was
say,
holdo about?
Like they immediately just go, nah, can't do that because. Fuck you, that's why.
Most
of this movie is fuck you, that's
I
why.
would have been pulling my hair out of watching that.
When, in episode 6, when Palpatine first lightnings, I think it's 6 or 5.
No.
Episode 6, because that's the only one he's actually in, isn't it? In episode 5, he's just like, turning. Lovely.
Yeah.
Lovely. So that's basically what happens. So he lightnings him, but it's not ridiculous. It's quite powerful, it's cool. And then that's Palpatine. So that's
not
Palpatine.
even going to be taken seriously as lightning. It's just an evil power
but that's Palpatine as strong as we've seen him. And then they also jazz hands. And then in episode 3, when he takes on Windu, he lightnings Windu.
I hate that. He lightnings himself.
Well, that's
you didn't have to explain why he's. I just took it as all Sith live for so long, their bodies like just fail.
I mean, I didn't mind that because they also needed him to get weaker for a second. Like they needed a back foot. It's like a fight where someone wins, someone losing.
Him. Sorry.
Window at the window, and then
nice.
Yes, so you see lightning in that as well. But lightning is like, it's the same amount of lightning, but it can also be stopped by a lightsaber. Cool. And it can also be deflected by a lightsaber. Cool. Shown in episode 2 as well with Dooku doing it to Yoda. And then in this one, he's like, I could do my normal bit of lightning, or I could shoot a giant fucking column of it into the sky and knock out 1,000 ships. Like,
but he doesn't
take them out.
He disables them. But that's still ridiculous.
It was
powerful.
That's why I paralleled it with Force Unleashed. Force Unleashed, I was there like, okay, the Force is really OP in this game.
It was that whole thing.
But it's a game.
That
this
whole
one, I'm like, oh my.
Because it was so weirdly paced. Because it just instantly reminded me of George Lucas watching Phantom Menace, where he goes, "Might have went too far in a few places." Because it's like
JJ's like, I didn't go far enough.
Because it's like you have this big elating moment where all the ships have turned up, and it's a not as good on your left cap moment.
I mean, it's also literally just a repeat of Lando from 6, where he's like rocks up late to the party, and he's like, "Look at all my friends I brought."
I hate when they put these prestige characters in the same outfits. Like Lando in like a stretch yellow shirt, but he comes in, and then after that, like, whoa, it's like Dunkirk, but it's science fiction instead. And then a minute later, he does that,
and then that same lightning that just took out, disabled 1,000 ships. He then shoots it at Rey, and Rey's like, "Oh, I see your lightning, but have you met scissors paper lightsaber?" And then just all of that fucking lightning goes into her lightsaber. And then she's like, she's like, "Oh, we're evenly matched. Wouldn't it be a shame if I had a second lightsaber?"
You know what pissed me off so much? Because I
whole movie.
Well, yeah, the whole fucking film. But I forgot about the second lightsaber, which fair enough is an alright twist. But the minute she did that, I was like,
why are you one-handing it? Like,
how are you? Like, my wrist would collapse straight away. Like, this is the time
you see Dooku in 3 going like, like struggling. You see even Yoda being like, "Oh wait, no,
Yoda
absorbed the
Yoda
Yoda does it with his hand."
struggling,
But
yeah.
also Yoda is the dopest thing you've ever seen. Like up to that point, you're like, "Yes, Yoda is the epitome of power." And then they counteract it by after that fight, Yoda's like, "Well, fuck me, I'm gonna die, cunt." Like,
I always just took that as a joke with Yoda. Is that Yoda can spin and kick, but then he just has comedic
the way I've always seen it is it's just like. It's still pretty ridiculous.
He puts a lot of effort to do that.
Yeah, it almost kills him every time he has to do effort because he's 900 years old.
Which is technically 18 now.
Well, that's really...
Baby Yoda's 50 and a baby.
But also, the thing about that is, like, people are always like, oh, Yoda's only this old. But that just puts it to the fact.
It's like dog years.
Yeah, it's like, he still lived for 50 years. Like, if I paused at my age right now, live for 50 and then age
I'm going to learn some stuff.
Yeah, I probably won't still consider myself 24 and be like, I'm the Time Lord now. The laws of time are mine.
No, I guess, yeah. In The Last Jedi, water sort of teleports, but in this, it's full on, like...
Yes.
It reminded me of Sense8, that terrible, like, Wachowski
haven't watched
Netflix
it yet.
thing, where it was like...
It's in my list and I've slowly buried it.
They can teleport lightsabers to each other.
I don't think they were teleporting. I thought they were doing their mind thing where they can grab each other's stuff.
But they physically are grabbing
things. But you
things.
can't. That's a new force power again.
Yeah.
Because basically they took the...
So you're saying they can't add new force powers? Because they should be allowed to add...
No, they can definitely add new force powers, but within... There's a reason...
A realm of believability.
Because, like, in all of them, they add...
Star Wars believability?
But that's like episode 6, they add one. It's not like the most powerful thing you've ever seen at the Force. But then in this one, Rey, they add the ability, which is again from The Force Unleashed. She can now hold a spaceship in midair trying to escape. So
that was so stupid.
There's
two people doing that
for me.
So she does.
And I said pissing contest. This is a pissing contest right now.
And he's like, I pushed you so that you would do this. But yeah, so they...
The lightning bit was cool though. I was like...
She can now do that. She can... I mean, Palpatine can now shoot giant columns of lightning, which can never happen. Force healing is new. Emailing each other lightsabers through Force time. Also, I've coined the term Force time instead of FaceTime. I think I'm a genius.
That's brilliant.
Don't encourage him.
TM.
I think he did the force power because he was like rejuvenated. Just so he's like, I feel so powerful. I'm gonna come in the sky.
That's what I do.
Well, he took the life forces. I guess.
Yeah,
whatever the fuck that was.
People, I guess.
Yeah, another thing. Being able to steal someone's life force. It's that one I can almost forgive because it's the opposite of force healing. It's like it's taking life instead of giving life. But also, the first time Rey force heals, BB-8's like, what was that? And she's like, oh, I gave some of my force power to the thing to heal it.
like what, did you give up the force power?
Yeah, it's like, it made it sound like she gives up some of her life, which is why Kylo, in the end, spoilers, Kylo dies because he heals her.
That kiss
and
was
he
really
gives
weird.
all of it. I mean, it's not Rey's Tico Finn weird, but that
felt like a love story that was never there.
Well, they were sitting there and, oh no, that would have been okay in 8. Like, if they...
Well, they set up some love story stuff in 8, I would have been...
That is the perfect bit of 8. FaceTime, Force time is all I live in 8.
Force time with Rain.
I can't. Because...
I didn't do it.
And I before this film...
Ren.
I before this film was like, I fucking wish Rey had gone with him. Let's have this weird power couple shit. Let's go together. Let's make this interesting because I'm so sick of this whole bullshit. Good versus evil. Yeah. I'm over it. Everything's good versus evil. Let's do something interesting.
That was one of the things I liked in 8 that, again, was ruined by one of the things I hate. Because the Force time is amazing and then they're about to get together. I'm like, holy shit, they're going to team up. They're either going to be good or bad. If Snoke was still alive and they teamed up, that would have been good. Because then it's like, you've got an evil dude in the middle of your resistance organization. And he's still an evil dude. Or like he was an evil dude 5 minutes ago. He's killed countless people, planets, and you're just like, I don't know if I trust you.
I kind of...
You have that.
But sorry. And then watching this film, literally I felt like the whole thing was setting up that they've just got this really good friendship bond. They're just, good mates. They've got this weird, just bro town. And then when that scene happened, we were like,
they're gonna kiss.
As soon as they pull us, I'm like, no, please don't. And then I just giggled to myself in my chair.
But if you wanted, maybe this would have improved it slightly by just not having it and having him heal her, and then almost such an emotional thing, and I would kiss you, but oh fuck, actually, and then just passed out, and I would have been like, cool.
We said happened. How funny would it have been if they just kept going like, no, you're going to be the one to survive. No, you're going to be the one to survive, and they just kept.
That's it. They could have done that because they didn't explain the Force timing at all. No, the Force timing, the Force heal. Basically, they introduced 5 new Force powers.
And I feel like, I hated Kylo's I know with face like I just hate it. The whole like he decides he's good. He takes off a part of his evil jacket.
Yeah, he takes
has
off the
a
dark
comedic
cloak.
Nathan Drake run. Nathan Drake like from PlayStation. It's
but how does he run?
No, it just reminded me of like an Indiana Jones moment where he runs, grabs on the ledge and goes.
Because he had a billowy linen
shirt.
shirt.
I get you mean when he's running after it. I thought you meant as soon
and like
lightsaber.
for me it was just like, wait, Kylo's good now, just like that. Because I was of the camp of like, you killed your dad, you can't be redeemed. And so for them to just recreate the episode 7 scene...
It's like when Harrison Ford came up as well.
Oh, that's most of the films.
I thought when I heard Hayden, I'd say like, wait, did they put Hayden Christensen in? And it was Harrison Ford.
I wanted Hayden in. I mean, I'm glad Hayden was there in the audio.
The voice,
but I wanted there to be a proper Hayden Darth Vader moment where he looks at Kylo and goes, "You got it all
do his makeup
man."
Again, being like, "What are you doing, kid?" Like,
like that's what I wanted. Like,
especially because they bring back all the other Force ghosts.
I don't think all the additions of the powers are stupid. I think updating is nice. I genuinely think the Force teleportation stuff works because of how they've set up their characters and their connection. And I was like, this is cool and believable, but they don't respond accordingly. So when he first snatches her necklace, she should have freaked the fuck out.
Yeah, he seemed
because that's the first time ever. Like,
but also, you're not teleporting stuff
technically in episode 8
with the raindrops.
He gets the raindrops.
But that's like that's whimsical to me. Like that seems airy fairy, like lovely. And it's more of like a feeling
aggressively taking something.
Yeah, but this is like him snatching something and like he's wanting it to happen. It's not like it's just bleed through. No, it's like he can literally she could have just ignited a lightsaber, stabbed him, and like, oh, cool.
And it's like they were trying to say that the reason why they're both, because I took down a lot of people.
Snoke 8 says they're connected because he connected them.
Yeah, which is what annoyed.
It's not even. They should have set them up as just twins somehow. Like make Palpatine kidnap Rey at birth.
Yeah, like what really got it's the whole, because I know everyone was trying to say Rey's probably so powerful because the Force is trying to counteract the dark. They're pouring all their effort into Rey, and in this it felt like they were just trying to say.
But then Luke
Rey and Kylo are both so powerful because they're connected, and it's like they're on about. There's something about because the whole Sith thing, only two can survive. Apprentice master, skills master.
That's more of a religion thing. That was more of a. That was never a hard and fast rule.
Okay.
That was more like, if there's too many of them, they'll betray each other and shit like that, and then they all want ultimate power. So if you all want ultimate power, you're all going to kill each other to get ultimate power.
But then for this, it was like, I was so weirded out, and Palpatine was like, "Strike me down, because when you strike me down, I'm going to take over your body."
Yeah.
So, well, why are you telling her that then?
You could have just been like.
Your
mum's a whore.
No, don't kill me, please.
Your mum smells of elderberries. So
yeah. Remember when you and the whole, I mean, it really feels like I've watched 3 separate films that happen to be connected. Like I like it kind of annoys me a lot because, I mean, this is meant to be a trilogy, and like I know we've all said this before. Prequels are bad, but they're fucking consistent.
They're fun,
and they're the same image, like they're the same ideas and everything continuing through, and what he talks about in episode 1 is there in episode 3.
Yeah.
And you know, it even though it's bad, it is there. You know.
Speaking of like inconsistency, it's like when we were talking about the Force before, the Force ghosts.
Yeah, why isn't Han Solo a Force ghost?
Suddenly everyone's a Force ghost because even though they mentioned in Clone Wars and in the first couple of movies, they're like. You had to go through rigorous training to be
like
Qui-Gon Force.
Well, Han wasn't a Force ghost; he was like a memory of Kylo.
Yeah. But again, like, why do both? Like, if you're gonna have both in the same, like, within 10 minutes of each other, explain it, or like, don't just brush over it so much, or don't even have him. Like, he didn't need to be in there. How much money did they have to pay him? Because Harrison Ford was done by 6. So 7, they paid him a shit ton.
Han should have been killed at the end of episode 5. I mean, that count.
Well, he wanted to be. He said kill
that should have been the kill. like I know, dead.
Because
he's not Han Solo in episode 6. He's just a nice fellow in episode 6.
Yes, but yes, Rose Tico, because no one liked her. Well, I mean, a lot of people liked her, but because
liked her because of the people passionately hated her.
Because Star Wars needed to appease as many people as possible, they sidelined her, but they can't just get rid of her, so they're just like, yeah, do you want to come? Oh no, I've got to help the general now, because what was she? She was an engineer or something, and suddenly she's like.
And the whole point of Last Jedi is trying to help and be.
And she's literally a traitor in 8, and they go on about like you directly disobeyed a command or whatever, so you're a traitor, and like, basically they just get rid of Rose Tico because they hate her.
Take her away.
I'm kind of indifferent to her character.
It's not the actress's fault.
No, but something about the actress, like when she's on camera, I'm like, I don't hate this character because ultimately she just has this thing about her that she's
randomly kissing Finn and telling him that.
I stopped watching when we rewatched the last.
The moment we got a Canto, the moment we got a Canto bite in there, and the whole like. Now it's worth it.
That's what
and it's like, you know, they free the horses but not the kids. Like,
really,
like that's a really amateur thing, and you can't justify it. Why did you decide to spend a minute and a half connected together of people going, Finn, what's your secret to Rey? And then you don't pay it off.
Well, so basically, that's on the cutting room floor. Finn talking to Rey is on the cutting room floor.
Yeah, it's there for sure.
You know what else is on the cutting room floor? When Kylo lands on the broken Death Star.
Yeah,
he's just there, and you're like, oh, he's a Force.
I thought it was Force apparition again.
And then she shanks him. Oh, we'll go into later after that. But yeah, so then she shanks him, and you're like, oh, he's real now. Okay, and then they cut away and they show a ship. So you just know there was another shot where the ship's about to land, and Finn's like, fuck, and then
it's Kylo Ren.
And you're like, that was 3 seconds. I'm so glad this was in the movie.
And all the stuff with Kylo and that chick. Oh, not Kylo and Finn and that chick. Like, there's the one scene where they're like, I'm a defected one as well.
Yeah, they try to set that up, and then also, even just little things, like, when they're in the tunnel about to heal the snake, Rey's holding her lightsaber, and she'll, like, light the way, like she's playing fucking Fallen Order.
And then he gets a torch out.
Yeah. Oh, no, that was funny. I enjoyed that.
It was funny.
But then, so she's holding her lightsaber, and then instead of attacking the snake, she goes to heal it. But
which is the Jedi way. She
moves her arm back this much to, like, pass it to Finn.
Yeah.
And then, but it cuts. Like, she makes half a movement. And then the next shot, she walks away, the lightsaber hasn't moved from where it is, because she passes it perfectly back, so it's bad blocking as well. Yeah. But then Finn's holding it, and then she moves away, and all of a sudden the lightsaber stays there. So it's kind of like she just moved like this, and then, like, walked away from her lightsaber hovering. Again, it's just, like, it's an extra split second of Finn going, thanks. Or like,
see, no, but I saw that. I remember watching that.
I remember watching that going, no, Finn's holding it now.
Yeah,
I do remember that.
Think about it.
I thought he just grabbed it really, like, in front of him, so it almost seemed like you couldn't see his hand. But I definitely made the connection.
And it's like half second. That's what I'm saying. It's not like it's the worst thing ever.
No, but it was awkward because she also. It took me a second to realize that that's what she was gesturing to. I thought she was pulling it back to then do something.
Yeah, it's an extra, because you don't notice. It's not like it flows. It's kind of like a second after you see her walk away and it's still there, you're like, oh, she passed it to Finn.
But didn't you just say someone had a torch out? If someone had a torch out, why bother having the lightsaber out?
Because the lighting is really cool. It's like they need really cool blue lighting.
I thought it was interesting that we killed Chewie but then didn't. Yeah. Chewie was on another one.
But like, which other one? They didn't show us another one.
No, there were a couple ships.
I want to talk about things I did like. I liked 3PO in this film a lot. I think it was like the 3PO redemption, because 3PO's barely in the other two. I really did like the 3PO stuff.
But where's R2?
Yeah, I know, it's so weird they did that.
It's so weird. One without the other. You know what, why? Because BB-8 sells toys. But also, why do we need little Conehead robot? Again, because they needed another toy. Because if you're going to have BB-8, might as well have BB-8 and R2, like, chumming along. BB-8 and R2 could be like, we're bros, like BB-8 and R2. And then, what if C-3PO was jealous of BB-8 and R2?
Yeah, but...
Also, I hated C-3PO. Sorry.
That whole thing felt like either it's an editing thing or just the writing, but there's a large emphasis on what this assassin was doing. Which assassin? Exactly. They're in the ship. Like, the ship they're flying is that assassin ship. They find his bones in the sinking tunnels. Yeah. And there's a large... This whole plot's about what he killed Rey's parents and then went to go, not kill Rey, but get Rey and take her back to Palpatine. A lot of emphasis on someone we don't really see.
We see his face. Yeah. And then we see his bones.
And then, because Finn learns it from the hairdryer.
But they don't even flash back to the ship. Like, they show you the ship, and they should have showed you the ship, and then Rey goes, not like... Because, like, that's the one memory we have of Rey as a kid. We've literally seen Rey once.
I hated that, and that whole, like... Rey goes off and goes floating about in the desert. Chewie, go tell Rey something. Chewie
insta-captured.
Fucking dumb
Chewie would not be captured. Chewie would kick the shit out of everyone.
Well, it was the Knights of Ren. Like that's what they're trying to, because it was the Knights of Ren that were there.
But then have him kneecap him or something.
But I literally giggled seeing Chewie in his Gumby ass run around the corner like, gotta go tell her something, and the Knights are like, dumbass bitch.
Yeah,
he just looks stupid. He's such a
Chewie would not get recaptured.
Person.
Even in Solo: A Star Wars Story, the last fucking film to come out, like the last movie they released, Chewie says like 18 times, "I'm never going to get captured again." Like Chewie in that movie would rather die than be recaptured. So like, that's his whole thing.
I did like the whole sequence of like it was really rushed. The entering back in, get Chewie, run back out, John Wick kind of shots.
Oh no, fucking hated it.
Oh, like I kind of enjoyed it.
It's okay. It's cool, but why can two guys take on an entire starship? Why don't you just do that between every starship? Why don't you just run through, shooting every single stormtrooper?
They're facing this way, stormtroopers come in, fire 2 shots, and they're like, "Whoa, we didn't fire that!"
Pew, pew.
Oh, bang, bang! I was like,
And I'm
there's no way they can lose.
In the scene where the stormtroopers like kind of come up behind them and there's the 3 of them and Chewie's in the back, I was like, Chewie, you're a fucking idiot. You're the worst friend in the whole world. Why aren't you covering the back? Why aren't you covering the back? You're literally standing there doing nothing. You haven't fired a single shot because they've got you covered at the front, and you're just like, I don't have to do anything. Oh, there's people behind us.
Chewie suddenly like
good thing they didn't just shoot us the whole time because they made him. They made him kind of Gumby as like he's just I don't know. But
I'm jumping about things because we are, but I really thought it was stupid. It's like, wait, so every single ship has a planet-killing weapon?
Yeah.
It's like, yeah, man. It's like, wow, like. They just
What's
can't
better
let
than
go
Death
of
Star?
the Death Star.
100 Death Stars.
it looks the canon as well as just recycled from Episode 8.
What was like? Because that was I thought.
And also had Palpatine do it.
I know it's probably like a comedic moment, but I also thought, wow, they're sensitive because they're thinking about someone like Mauler. Sorry, Mauler. The bit when Finn comes out on the horse.
Sorry.
I'm not sorry, Mauler.
He would tear us apart.
But someone like Mauler right now. Like when Finn is on the horse,
Finn
goes, not bad for someone with one lesson. Just says that.
Does he say that?
Yeah. So an arse like Mauler can go, wait, what? When did Finn learn to do horse riding? It's like, here it is. That's it. That's
like, haha, suck at me.
I didn't need that line.
No, I mean,
I would have just accepted it. I went, okay, Finn's riding a horse. Okay. Like, but no.
Riding a horse is an
what
easy
was
thing.
Finn doing that whole battle? I'm so confused what Finn was doing.
He was doing the same thing that
he was trying to repair something, to shoot something.
To shoot down the signaling tower, and then he needed to he needed to move this turret around and shoot the bridge as well.
It's literally it's a 2 feet hole that you can shoot a plasma thing down, but instead it's a tower. It's fucking.
It's like I don't get why they set up this whole arc, almost as if there was going to be another film where he then finally is home to his people of other
defective stormtroopers.
Stormtroopers who are all of ethnic diversities and ride on these weird yak things. These are my people.
Horses with tusks.
That's another thing too. They like lock down their speeders. I'm like, whoa, when was that a thing?
Yeah.
When can you lock down speeders?
Okay. The reason they use horses. They're like jam.
I understand.
He said like jam your speeders, and I'm like, you can't. What? You can? You can jam speeders.
You can hack
and then they're like, no, we have horses, and I'm like, what the fuck?
Yeah, and like since that wasn't a problem in a previous action sequence.
Yeah, it's never mattered ever before.
I love and hate hooks. That moment was great.
They made hooks a little bit.
I'm the traitor.
You see, okay, no.
What? Like, I thought that was.
As soon as he's like, I'd like to do the honors, I'm like, he's going to shoot the stormtrooper. Yep.
Yeah.
The reason I hated that is because they do the exact same thing in Star Wars Rebels.
I'll do that.
There's a commander in Star Wars Rebels with fucking dope sideburns. He's the. Do you know who we're about? Or just like,
what's his name?
But yeah, I just know mutton chops.
Are they like the
big sideburns?
Agent Callus. Agent Callus.
Yeah. He's literally like a bad guy the whole first season, and the whole second season, he's like, haha, I'm a spy now. And then like, we don't trust you. So it's just the exact same plot from that, which is why I didn't like it.
And Richard E. Grant just kind of thrown in to be another Hooks. Like,
because
as I served you in the old war, Palpatine. Yeah, because that's the one thing. Ryan in episode 8 made them all really screamy and stupid.
Yeah, well, he yelps when he gets sweat, which is fair enough. If I got slammed to the ground, I'd probably yelp like a bitch. It made him non-threatening.
I really liked in episode 7 that
he was like formidable in episode 7, and in episode 8 he was.
But they were sibling rivals. I loved it. Like they were.
That was really good.
Yeah, because there's that great bit where Ren has his mask off and he's like kind of being really emotional with like, she's strong with the Force. It's not my fault. And then Hux walks in, and then Ren just gets all really serious, like, I don't want to be a dick in front of my brother. I'm like, cool.
Yeah.
I was like, this dynamic's really cool, and they just fucked it. They just and like I did kind of like the bit where it's like he doesn't choke him, he just points his finger at him like Gordon Ramsay,
like
stop talking, you muppet, or something. It's raw, and then like walks off.
What's the thing with the Force? Like when they were doing that whole conference, right? And the guy goes into the ceiling and gets choked. I'm like, he didn't really do anything bad. Like,
that's like, they're just saying like, look how threatening he is.
They're trying to say that Kylo is and like I just. The fact that we've never had these conference meetings, like, this was a big part of the original trilogy.
Yeah.
Was all the imperialist leaders going, yes, like, and I know it's Disney, it's Star Wars, it doesn't matter, but in episode 7 they're all white. The First Order is basically.
Oh really? But now they've got a bunch of.
But now, because I realised I just kind of thought, I know it's diverse and it doesn't matter. It shouldn't matter. But I thought the whole point was they're Nazis. Like,
I'm glad they kept the British accent.
Yeah. Oh yeah, British accent always helps.
but you know what I mean? Yeah, but it's like they're English.
Well, Hux was literally like red in the face, yelling about his Nazi ways. I'm like, well, shit, all right. Like, it's not so much threatening, but it's like he's definitely serious about everything. He's like.
No, it's not a big deal. And the fact that they kind of depowered, like there's a joke to Hux that Hux obviously got demoted heavily.
Yeah.
Like they go, like maybe we should use
Palpatine says, Richard E. Grant says to Palpatine later in the film, like, I'll serve you like I served you in the old days. So it's like, they don't give it's not a reason, but like, what was he doing? What has he been doing for 40 years? Who was he 40 years ago? 20 years ago?
Was there any Imperials that survived in episode 6?
I always kind of looked at it as like it was so already when it was just like they're called Resistance in episode 7, but then they're called Rebels in episode 8, and then now it's like, but technically the First Order are the Rebels, and I always liked the idea of it being that there was probably some systems. Like, because it's a large galaxy, and like everything, like, so you want about such and such dictator, but when he was in charge, the bus ran on time.
Well, literally, like, because
that's the whole thing.
The rebels killed, like when they blew up the second Death Star and killed everybody, like society would have fallen apart for a lot of people. So it would have been lawless in a lot of places. So they would have been like, shit, thank fuck for the
Isn't that what the Mandalorian kind of is talking about? This really wanted to be the Return of the Jedi because it wanted to be the safe one that everyone was happy with.
Well, it ends the same, and like everyone's happy. Like they might as well end it like episode 1 we're like, peace!
Yeah, it was so...
Boss man.
And the Force moments with C-3PO, I was like, I'm just looking at my friends. It's like... They don't
People
like
loved that monologue. People fucking loved C-3PO's monologue about friends.
But it was like...
He barely knows that.
But then he just gets his memory back. And then there's even like a joke. He goes, hang on, I just thought up a new way. And they plug him out. Although that's your new favourite thing, is that little small guy.
No, I loved him.
And then he appears.
And it makes sense.
He's like... And I'm like, it's like a pause. This
old tiny guy.
And it makes sense he would be like some sort of wired and dude because he's tiny and wires are all small.
It's very convenient.
So it's logically explained as well.
I did dig it.
I just want to know like what C-3PO was.
3PO hoodie.
When 3PO got his memory back from R2, he mentions, we're about to go on something with this person.
Rey's first mission, which was the start of the movie.
Yeah, so that's what
he basically just forgot the last 3 hours of his life, basically.
Because I missed what he said. I was like, wait, what? Cool.
We need to take a second for the fact that they do not give Chewie any time to grieve two major deaths.
He gets a medal.
And he's like, what was it? The dumb part where he's sitting on the ledge and they're like, come on, Chewie, let's go. And he's like, okay then. And I'm like, what are you doing to him?
He's like about to like cry or something. He's just like, man, I really missed my best friend. Better go on an adventure.
It's because Han's dead, Luke's dead, Leia, and he's known, and Chewie is technically the only one who is around who knew Leia from all the way back then. So he needs to be the one who's like, not her.
Which is why he has his little scream.
And also, I remember seeing this fan comic back when episode 5 happened, where it was like the backstory as to why Chewie shot Kylo in the sides. that the little comic, it was like 8 panels. He went to shoot Kylo in the head. He was all annoyed, but then he had flashbacks to when he was feeding him his milk in a bottle, because Chewie would have been Ben Solo's fun furry uncle.
Yeah,
and so
fun furry uncle.
But he would have been, and I really and I was kind of like, oh, they never gave Kylo Ren and Chewie a moment where Kylo hugs Chewie. I'm so sorry.
They never gave Kylo and Han.
They never gave They never gave Luke, Han, and Leia.
They never gave anyone any time at all about anything.
I understand reunions are never as good as you hoped, but it is weird they never did how's it going? Same as always.
That's why they bring them back in this one, because they want everyone from the original in this movie. So they're like, everyone's a Force ghost, and then Han's a memory.
What did you think of how they did Carrie Fisher's stuff?
I was about to say.
Yeah.
I fucking hated it. This might not be a universal thing. This could be me being an asshole.
It ran through my head the whole time when she came on screen. I was
she's dead.
How much lost footage did they have?
Well, that's the thing.
There's one bit where Rey's having this whole mission, I'm going on this mission, and the only line they have Carrie say is, "Go." And it's like, I understand that they've just took whatever footage they have from the 2 previous films, and did they get another actress and CG her face on? I know it wasn't CG. It was
they didn't, because that looks really bad. You see that later on in the movie, how bad that looks when they try to do that. So basically, what they did. That's the thing. I might hate this because I'm behind the scenes. I know a lot of what they actually did and stuff. Basically, they took her from every other shot they've done, all the leftover footage from 8 and 7. They've rotoscoped her out, which is they've cut her out and they've put her in a new scene, which was why a lot of the time. So
the outfit was what she was wearing when
it was what she was wearing. Material you can easily change.
Okay. It felt
but faces you can't change. But basically, Sarah's Carrie Fisher, so she's cut out. She's not actually here. So Rey has no one to talk to.
Yeah.
So Rey's looking here, and you're trying to match eye line with me, and
wouldn't
I'm
they just put someone there in line for her? They would have just.
They usually use a tennis ball and stick, but that's never perfectly accurate, and
you
it's still because that might be where her head is, but then your eyes are still this kind of thing. So your eyes can rotate independently.
I fundamentally hate that though. If you could have a stand-in there, because I feel like you can always tell if someone's looking at someone else's human eyeball.
So the whole time, I was just looking at why Rey was looking off into the distance. I'm like, oh, it's because Carrie Fisher's dead.
Yeah.
And then everything. And then not only that, to get to the really mad bit about why I actually hate...
She should have been Holdo in episode 8. I bet they all wish they did that
or she should... No, I reckon she should...
I reckon Akbar should have been Holdo.
Yeah, Akbar should have been Holdo. And that fan service for... that's the only reason, fan service. And because he's an established general, instead of being this is a new general... But Leia should have died when Kylo didn't take action. That was her death before she came back into the ship. Her death was perfect. Her floating around in space dead, perfect. And then you're like, fuck, holy. If they hold on her dead in space for 5 seconds, you're like, fuck me, Leia's dead. And then they're just everyone's crying. But that would have been great. But then in this movie, she dies like a little bitch. Because
what was that? So she gets in touch with Ben, with Kylo. Kylo notices her, then Rey stabs her, and then she dies because she made the connection.
No. Basically, as she's walking away, but it's not actually her, it's someone else in a hood from behind, so that you can just be like, oh, that's Leia. But basically they say, where's Leia going? Oh, she needs to conference with Kylo or something like that. It's going to take all... and she's like, it's going to take all her strength. And then she goes from being pretty healthy, standing around just talking to Rey, and then she goes and lies down for a second, and then dies. And all she accomplished was Rey and Reylo is fighting, and then Kylo's like, it's basically like she appeared and went, hey, Ben, and then he's like, yeah, and then she's like, haha. So then he died like that, but then she heals her. Heals him. So Rey brings Kylo back to life after winning. So she stabs her.
Is that really his turn then?
And then he heals her.
Is that because he goes, my mum's just died and my sworn enemy just saved my life?
But he also thought she died earlier on. He thought she died when she got launched into space.
He never
finds out.
He never did.
Not even during Crate, because he's outside, she's inside, she escapes, he comes in and goes, grrr. He doesn't know until there's probably resistance chatter.
There would have been resistance chatter.
But all through 8, he was
so right.
Spooked about
he was right.
Yeah.
But doesn't he sees her before he gets shanked, right?
Yeah. That's why he's distracted.
Yeah, because that's him going, oh, she's not dead.
But
so in that sudden
But even then, why
realization,
would that
she's
bring him
not
back
dead
to the
then.
Force?
Yeah,
Like, why would that
so
bring him to
stupid.
the light
That's
side?
so
I get that would be a massive
Yeah.
distraction if your dead mom's suddenly like, hey Ben. But then the worst part about that is Rey brings Kylo back to life with Force healing, which again is a new power, kind of already annoying me. But then that means Carrie Fisher died for no reason, because Rey didn't know that Kylo was going to come back as a good guy. Like he wasn't. She leaves. She takes his ship and fucks off. She doesn't know that he's about to be a good guy again, so she heals him, thinking that she's just healed like a bad guy that she kind of loves and is a bit weird about. But that means Carrie Fisher dies for literally no reason in this movie, whereas she could have died as a massive character building moment for him in 8.
Yeah, and I guess
That's what I hate.
Yeah, it was hard, and I know the whole bit
Nothing's
of.
more pathetic than that.
And not that it matters, but it is weird that it's never explained why Maz Kanata had that lightsaber, and the fact that lightsaber was definitely destroyed in Last Jedi.
Yes, which is I thought was going to be perfect, because I'm like, holy fuck, Rey gets the pieces. In the end of Last Jedi, she's holding the pieces. I'm like, Rey's going to build her own lightsaber.
Wait, did she pick up the pieces?
Yeah, that's why she leaves. She has both pieces of the lightsaber.
I thought she just left them.
No, yeah, she takes both pieces, and then at the end of 8, she's like holding them and going like, but Luke's lightsaber's broken. This is the last thing we had of Luke. He's dead now. Cry baby face. And I'm like, but that's fine. She's gonna have a dope ass lightsaber now, and then she doesn't.
And like, I guess the biggest retcon of the lot is, and maybe if Carrie was still there, they would have done more with it. Was the fact that Carrie was Jedi trained the whole time, you know.
That's another thing as well. Was it? Yeah, when Luke was like, "Oh, it's something I want you to have." I thought he was going to give her his green lightsaber.
Yeah. Oh, when he first opened up, I'm like, hey, it's his green one. No, that's really chunky.
Yeah.
And then they're like, no, it's another blue lightsaber.
Yeah, it was such a shame that she never just got. I know, it's just. It's just because.
Because then she could have made a blue on one side, green on the other, and been fucking sickest thing in sliced bread.
I know we just keep talking about. I hate that that's how she defeated Palpatine. It was just
because two lightsabers is better than planet destroying lightning.
So technically speaking, when she buried those
lightsabers, he's really good at lightsabers.
Oh yeah, who the fuck is gonna find those?
Well, in Tatooine, she buried Anakin's and Leia's.
I think it's meant to be that she's. Well, it was Luke's for a while. I think it's meant to be symbolically she's burying them.
Yeah.
But like also why? Because like.
I didn't get why she was doing that at all.
I originally thought it was like the whole Luke hid Leia's lightsaber so that someone else could use it later on. Whereas I thought she was burying him, hit theirs so that she could give them to the future Jedis or something later on. But then they just keep going down to the earth. I'm like, oh, no one's finding those. Like,
also, I can't remember, but I thought Luke's home was completely demolished. Back in it.
No, in episode 4, the house was still scorch marks. But I like that they removed the bodies, though.
Yeah, but also
they would have degraded by.
It's been 50 years.
Yeah, it's been a while.
Would a sand house that's unkempt and like in the middle of sandstorms be around 50 years later? Oh, that's another point. Speaking of things that last way too fucking long, do you know how fuel was a massive part of Solo, a Star Wars story, and also a massive part of The Last Jedi? Wouldn't you assume then that fuel kind of works like our fuel, where like if you leave it in a car, if you leave it in a car for a really long period of time, your car won't start anymore. Whereas if you have a ship in the desert, 50 years later, very minimum, like I don't know.
Rey was, let's say 10 years, 10, 15 years.
Yeah, so a fucking while.
So an X-wing coming out of the ocean.
That's the next thing. Yeah. So like basically this ship just flies randomly, and then Luke pulls a. I thought Rey was at least going to pull it out of the ocean.
Did you notice that when Luke pulled out, he pulled it out the same way Yoda did in Episode 5? The same like
casually, yeah.
He was just but the way he was holding it as well, because like how Yoda did, he did it like that.
I thought Luke was doing it like that.
No, but he did it the same way Yoda did.
I thought that was a really clever way because it's just an errant shot in Last Jedi.
But if Rey did it, I would have been like, that's cool. Oh yeah, they show it.
In Episode 6, look down, and for all those people who want to know how he got there it is. And then I guess J.J. went, well, thank God for that. We at least can
what I thought was going to happen in 8, which again annoyed me. I think this is just one of those shitty cis white male things where I wanted something to happen and it didn't. But basically, the ship in the ocean. I thought Luke was going to be like, okay, I will come help, and he was going to use that ship to come. So that's how he was going to get to Acto to Crate. But instead, it's not used for that whole movie.
And I did I'm not sure how it worked, but the whole Lando goes, oh no, me and Luke did some real cool adventures. Luke was Luke for a good while. Yeah. Promise. It's like just for those fans some author someday is going to write.
But then he's also just saying
Adventures.
him and Luke. Like, where's Han? Did Han fuck off? Was Han at home with the kid? Like,
and they did.
I think it would have been really cool if they were trying to say like Han couldn't settle down because he was wanting to do adventures and shit and like smuggle stuff. But then Carrie Fisher's like, can you just sit with our kid for like 5 minutes?
Is drug in Star Wars? Is it like cocaine?
Yes, not completely, but
it's
yes.
their drug. And
yeah, it's like Spice Mine's Kessel.
Wasn't Han just a spice from the two, and we just don't talk about
a bunch of stuff? But yeah,
it's like smuggler of a lot of
because that's my favourite joke. So we're just going to pretend that Han and Chewie aren't just kind drugs across the galaxy.
People like prisoners, like just a bunch of shit. They're just like, we'll take anything as long as the pay's right. Fucking one thing I hate about Finn is he goes woo every time he kills a stormtrooper. They were his brothers, and every time he does a murder...
The whole reason why he quit is because someone died in front of him.
Yeah, and then every time he's like, killed another one of these cunts.
Which we keep bringing them up. I think Mauler brought up a point saying how interesting would it be is that Poe was the person who killed that guy.
Oh, yeah.
Are you saying was he, or...
Poe killed that person who... How interesting would it have been for Finn to
but also
met the guy who killed...
We never met the stormtrooper that dies, so we wouldn't also care.
But that whole moment to me was
it would have been
weird,
something at least.
Because it's like Finn, and they kind of explain it with this, almost like when something like that happens, it's like these defective kids who are... It's like their mind control breaks on them. So he saw death right in front of him. And then there's like a shot where it's almost like Finn catches himself.
They say it was his first time, it was his first mission.
Because he was clean.
Because he was in sanitation. But then he does so much action shit, and you're like... like when he's doing... that as well, but in this movie, where he does the fucking John Wick through the thing, I'm like, he's killing several... Is it the helmets? Like, are they
they mentioned that in Rebels.
They say it's hard to see, though.
In Rebels, it's like, I can't see this thing!
Yeah, like, that's the thing. It's like, clones did fine in it. And then they're saying, like, how shit are stormtroopers that as soon as one of them, in sanitation for most of his life, takes off helmet, he can now murder 8 of you.
Yeah. Also, jetpacks.
I mean, they fly in so many other things.
Really? Bounty hunters fly.
Or bounty hunters fly. Most Mandalorians fly.
Droids fly.
A bunch of clone...
I like the fact that they launched, so that was a cool...
that was cool, yeah.
A cool visual.
Yeah, it was interesting. It wasn't like it was a speeder on wheels.
There was no cool shots in this movie.
What?
I don't think there was any cool shots.
For JJ, it was pretty calm. Yeah, because
you look at
Force Awakens, there's a
The Force Awakens, the first whole all those shoots. In The Force Awakens, when Rey's like sliding down that rope inside the Star Destroyer, one of my favorite shots ever.
Wide.
Yeah, and the light streaming in, and then when Han Solo dies, it's like a really big wide. There's like light streaming into darkness, red down the bottom. Like both those shots look so good. Rian Johnson had a bunch of great shots, and this movie I'm kind of just like it's fucking dark. It felt like Harry Potter 5 with the snow globes.
I did like how it looked in some bits, but yeah, there was no real...
There was no standouts. Like, it was just
running at, like, even when this film was slowed down, it was still quicker than most films are.
Yeah. Well, I mean, again, 2 movies in one.
Watching The Last Jedi again, at least, the parts where Kylo Ren's with... Is it Snoke? In that part, where it's like got the red wall and you've got the harsh white light against like those shots. I loved those shots.
Yeah.
I thought everything in there looked really cool. Whereas this film... It was like, oh, here's another blue-washed, grey-washed area that has death and decay.
And it's raining, and also there's lightning, it's dark.
And water. Fucking water everywhere.
I do straight up thinking, like, because, you know, I got this weird feeling that in 20, 30 years, the fans are going to look back and Last Jedi will be the empire of...
There was a tweet I read from, like, Pierreth, I think it is. He's a film guy in Australia. He said, like... it'll be the standout of the trilogy or something like that.
I think it will be.
And then, like, yeah. Mainly because one's a remake, the other's trash. At least The Last Jedi's divisive. I fucking hate this movie, I've got to say it. Like,
you hate the movie?
I can't think of a single thing in this movie I like.
I like the C-3PO stuff.
I hated
the character
because they would just do something and then they'd cut to him and it'd make a funny joke and then they'd cut away.
Wasn't this whole film just cutting from different people doing something
and never coming into any kind of like hardship.
It's hard. It's hard, and because I can't blame... I don't know who to blame, because I want to go, it's your fault, Kathleen Kennedy. How hard is it to just plan 3 fucking films? You spent $4 billion, plan 3 films. It's not hard.
I mean, just get one guy to write them at least.
Yeah.
Although,
or a team.
I was gonna, not too many, because like that's usually Disney, where they're like, 8 people wrote my movie. Do you like it? No.
No, but it's like, why is that?
Yeah, there's no reason why they wouldn't.
Well, when the other guy, Kevin Feige, who's just over here on the same lot as you, probably. No, because they filmed Pinewood. But he's been like, I've constructed 24 movies.
Yeah.
And by and large, it all kind of lines up well.
Yeah.
And I was doing.
I mean, that's the best thing the MCU does. It's the MCU.
And also, Guardians of the Galaxy, the best Star Wars film in ages. Like, you know.
I'm not a massive fan of the second Guardians of the
No,
Galaxy.
I'm not either.
Okay,
but
cool.
Guardians of the Galaxy 1, the first 40 minutes, it kind of loses the interest when they leave the prison. But I love Guardians of the Galaxy because when I was watching, I went, oh yeah, this is like Firefly and what we all want the new Star Wars movie to be like.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's kind of just what JJ did with Star Trek, though.
Star Trek,
it's just a bunch of people in
Star
space.
Trek is a better Star Wars film.
I was going to say, it's not Star Trek. Like,
it's really hard because I feel like we all love Star Wars in a weird way. It's weird. We all do.
Especially age-wise.
And I just, because when I sit and because I put on episode 3 because I'm using a mate's Disney Plus, and I heard that George had that initial Anakin and Obi-Wan on the ship, St. Palpatine, originally is like an hour. And if you played the PlayStation game, which I did, they added in
also in the book.
And in the book.
Yeah, I read the book. I didn't play the game.
That is, I get so annoyed at George because I'm like, you had it because you casted well. Hayden's a fine actor.
Yeah.
Ewan McGregor's a great actor. And that whole 10 minutes of them in the elevator, did you press the button? No, did you? No.
Yeah, and then they split them up.
And then he jumps back in and goes, oh, it's you. I love the banter friendship. I was like, you could have had a whole trilogy of this.
Yes.
But
then they split them up in 2.
They split him up.
Although I do fucking the only good part of 2 is Kenobi the detective. Obi-Wan Detective Kenobi. It's so good because he's just it's a Kenobi movie.
I guess what the problem is, it's we've all got our own ideas of what we want a Star Wars film to be, and I know James Marriott, the guy who did Ford Ferrari, he did Logan, that director.
Haven't seen Ford Ferrari yet.
Yeah, and he did Walk the Line. So he's the Oscar director who did Logan. He was going to sign up to the Boba Fett movie. Everyone went, that sounds good. Then after the Rian Johnson or whatever, he goes, I kind of realised it's not worth it because you're just going to disappoint everyone. So there's no point.
I mean, that's fair.
And I was like, fair enough, because you probably are the best choice for a Boba Fett movie, but then Boba Fett's such a meme before meme character.
Yeah, and also they can't really do The Mandalorian and Boba Fett now. That was another thing I think they decided on. They needed a Disney Plus original series, and Mandalorian stood out to them, whereas you can't do both.
Yeah.
Sorry. I hadn't really gone back and rewatched any of the original Star Wars films to make sure I was completely up to date with memorizing all the lore and all this.
We don't have to.
Yeah, you really don't have to. Yeah.
Well, you shouldn't have to, but I find these newer films so hard to watch. Because everything's just delivered to you in really quick snippets of dialogue of this person said this, we're going to do this thing, and we're going to go here. And I really hate that. And if I think to myself, okay, what other sort of inline films are out there like Star Wars? So I go, okay, Star Trek, what would this modern Star Trek's like? And that first film, I find way more entertaining to watch than any of these Star Wars films.
The new stuff, the
there's better character work, there's better dialogue. I follow the action a lot easier because it's not
and that's JJ.
Same director, same with it.
Because Star Trek, you have a good balance of character and action, and you follow the plot line.
Well, it's not a good Star Trek movie, but
no, it's not. But it's a great Star Wars movie.
But it's of the same era of stuff of sci-fi. And with these new, I'm just comparing modern interpretations of old sci-fi stuff, and I find Star Trek more entertaining to watch, but maybe that's because it plays into more of a universal storyline, not storyline, but a universal, it follows more film devices, and it follows more rules, where I think Star Wars stuff's everyone knows everything because it's Star Wars, so fuck you, we'll do whatever we want, and we can have shit
Star Trek, they appeal sort of both, because they made it, it's the prime timeline, but Spock split off, went back in time, and it's just that appeases the old fans, and then you got the new fans, so it's we're starting fresh.
I was saying to Sarah when the reviews dropped around this time yesterday, and it was oh shit.
Did you read them or just avoid them?
I looked at the summaries, and my friend, because me and my friend before they came out we got more excited talking about how annoyed we might be when we leave. Like, we were more interested in the fandom's reaction.
I tried to go so
like
positive.
already I'm like, I can't wait for Mr. Plinkett's 2-hour review on this.
Yeah.
Because we all love Plinkett reviews, and he's the guy when it comes to Star Wars. So I guess I was surprised that because Tristan, who told us this morning he would give it a 4.5 out of 5, and loved it completely and thought it was amazing. He even said best one since Empire. He did say that, and he said because he finally read, because he didn't read a thing, didn't see a trailer. He said he feels that it was just the critics who liked The Last Jedi are just annoyed, and it just felt more like just the goodwill for JJ trying to be nostalgic. Where for me it was just I guess for me it's just I don't know how the larger fandom's going to take it. Like, and I don't know if they're going to be like...
I think it'll be as divisive as TLJ, because a lot of people are going to love it.
But I don't think it's going to be divisive in the way of, like, Luke wouldn't do that, such and such.
It's not going to be
it's going to be actually judged for being what kind of film it is. But I also think there's going to be... Yeah, I've heard that. I just think there's...
Yeah.
I was getting a little emotional seeing Leia on the camera all the time. I was being like...
You see, I was too annoyed the fact that she's already dead.
Yeah. I guess for me there was a part of it where it's like, because there are a lot of adamant YouTube, because I try and watch all of them, and some of them are like movies where Mikey was really into it, and like feel like they're going to turn around these guys and go, fuck you, they gave you exactly the movie you wanted.
I reckon some will, definitely.
Because this in ways is exactly the movie you wanted.
But I don't
everyone
think
on the Falcon zapping about, telling jokes, 3POs there. There's plenty of lightsaber battles. There's plenty of... Yeah, okay, there is plenty of that. I know it's such a little nitpick, but I never thought I'd say that George Lucas, the prequel films, have the better action scenes. Like, yeah, because you're always about 20 minutes away from a cool action set piece with the prequels, at the least. Revenge of the Sith has a really boring 40 minutes where they're all just talking to each other and it's really dull.
It's pretty much all Attack of the Clones.
Yeah, all Attack of the Clones, but then all the story with Revenge of the Sith is just talking bit. But then he has the last 50 minutes just be... Just like, you know, he makes sure the last half of Revenge of the Sith is like Jedi battle. So you're there going, this is entertaining.
Yeah.
Where like,
it hits you right here, Order 66.
Yeah, but with this, it's like I suppose it's hard to say like, oh, this is the end of a saga, which it isn't, because they're going to keep making more, and it's going to be
an episode. It's the end of the Skywalker saga, but it didn't feel like an end to me. That's the problem.
Like in 20 years, you're going to have. I don't think Rey, Finn, and Poe are not going to be nearly as fondly remembered as
if at all,
because like Finn has no character, Poe really doesn't have a character. I mean, he has a decent arc in Episode 8, and Rey still is. Once again, with this one, who is the main character? Rey is meant to be the main character, but like, there's a lot of moments where it's like
it's not the
Rey's just the Jedi one of a group of 5, and they're all kind of the main character, and I guess that's once again the problem where like everyone here started almost complete. Like, and I think that's been the problem with Rey the whole time, is that Rey from the get-go was really capable, and she has stayed capable. Where
she's got God tier,
and
she's become a literal
Luke.
God.
There is some silly stuff with Luke. Luke's parents die. He kind of takes it on the chin. Then Leia has to see a whole planet, her whole lineage blow up, and then she has to comfort Luke when Luke.
Yeah.
And then Luke's completely capable of riding and like an X-wing, even though it's kind of said
they do say
trained.
The T-16 hopper or whatever.
Yeah, like there's stuff where I like, and maybe I keep in my head thinking he did apply or did do some kind of training
in the original, like in 4. There's a scene with him and Wedge Antilles where they says, "I'm gonna."
I thought it was Biggs.
Biggs probably. Well, yeah, he's like, "I'm going to apply to the Empire next semester or whatever."
Yeah, he wants to go to the Imperial Academy.
And then his dad's like, Uncle Ben is like, "Nah, Sol's."
I think
Uncle Owen.
Ben.
Spider-Man's uncle's like, "Nah, man."
This is how I describe it best. For The Last Jedi, when I watched that in cinema, I found myself, I don't even know, probably between the half-hour, 1 hour mark. Maybe it was between the 1 hour and 2 hour mark. Or maybe it was between the 2 hour and 3 hour mark. I don't even know how long
it's 2 hours 50 minutes?
Oh god, so
2 hours,
sorry.
2 hours
38 or something. Like, it's the longest.
Yeah, there was a point significantly in that film where I went, this is a load of bullshit. I don't even want to watch the rest of this. Like, I'm so bored by it. And then, but with this one, I was like, okay, I'm sort of following. I'm missing a lot of stuff and I don't realise it because it's just happening so quickly. And I'm like, just going, yeah, this is happening, but I'm not really taking in the impact of it. But I also needed to pee twice throughout that film and I went, this any time would be an alright time because I'm not going to miss anything.
You see, it would just be the fact that I hated this movie. I wanted it to stop. Like, especially.
Is this your least favourite of the three?
Oh, for sure. This is my least favourite of the 9. I like this less than Rogue One, and I fucking hated Rogue One.
I wouldn't go that.
No, this is a terrible bad movie.
I couldn't really tell you what I like about it, but I don't think it's the worst.
I can't tell you what I like about it, but I can tell you that.
I know you said you like C-3PO, but I still think
I almost feel like if I was told you have to pick one of the 3, and maybe it's just because I just watched it recently, I do think if someone said you go watch Force Awakens, Last Jedi, or this, I probably would say I'll watch Rise of Skywalker again.
But talking about...
You see, I was going to see it again. I was going to see it again
easy
tomorrow.
And very like... Here's everyone is like it's easy.
You see, again, I didn't find it easy. I found it suffocating. The first 20 minutes I wanted to end because it felt like a fever dream. Like they were just punching me in the face several times.
I did hate what they did with Kylo Ren.
And it just lightsaber fights.
Okay.
They were a lot lighter than they were.
Well, it goes under the whole, they wanted to do things differently to TLJ. TLJ had no lightsaber fights, so this one has like 27 lightsaber fights.
But you notice that like in the philosophy in, the original trilogy was that, they're just toying with each other, not experiencing stuff, and then in the prequel trilogy, they're all prime Jedi going boom, 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 and the lightsabers are light, whereas like the philosophy in Seven was that they're heavier. They're heavy.
But that's not...
but then this isn't the case anymore.
Because Rey just used... I like the way Kylo fights. But that's not even, about the lightsaber fights.
I found...
That's just the way that Kylo fights.
Did you notice that the Rey's lightsaber hits the crossguard?
Yeah.
You noticed that? They
actually went ahead and did it.
Yeah. They used it.
Just as probably actors and them training and performing these stunts, I assume they don't have stunt doubles for this stuff because it's not that technical. They're just kind of jumping around each other.
Yeah, not for most of it.
She was... There was one... I think it was the part before she stabs Kylo. And it was so clunky and weird. And she just kind of hobbled around him for a second. There was
she
something
chucked her lightsaber
fucking
backwards.
clunky.
She was using her lightsaber reverse style for most of the time, which is usually a horrible, horrible idea.
Well, like Starkiller in the game.
Yeah, thinking she's
at
least
cool.
But Ahsoka's got a second lightsaber, yeah.
Yeah, I just had an issue with the way she looked and performing stuff, whereas...
They just did it the exact
Adam Driver
opposite.
just seemed a bit more smoother and... Yeah, like a dance.
That was what I didn't like. They just did the exact opposite of 8, where they were like, there's no lightsaber fights. So instead of none, let's do all of them.
At the end.
And then none of them are consequential.
Kylo got beat by an elderly hologram.
Yeah.
That's rough, buddy.
Force power.
Yeah, force projection. Like astral projection. But
yeah.
I guess it's like... it's weird because I like we all do when Plinkett said it's kind of annoying how they're so choreographed. There's no emotion in Obi-Wan's movements, but that's very true. When Qui-Gon dies and Obi-Wan rushes out to Darth Maul, but I have watched that 20 seconds of combos him and Darth Maul, and I love it. It's and it's well shot. It's in a wide. You see everything what they're doing, and. I mean, everyone and John Williams' score is primo.
That's one thing. Okay, that's one.
I thought they were going to recontextualize Duel of the Fates in this and fit it.
I had heard, but then they didn't. So whatever. With the lightsaber fights as well, the Knights of Ren, the fact they just do nothing.
Still, dude, I was pumped the whole time.
One had a fucking axe on him or some shit.
Aren't they meant to be the failed students of Luke and Kylo?
That's the way they put it out to be, at least.
And I hate it because you're the master of the Ren, you're the master, and it's like this dark Knights of the Round Table type thing, and he never does anything with it.
It should have been basically him and his Inquisitors, they all go around murdering.
I love the word Inquisitor. It's annoying.
If they found they could have even sold up that's pretty much what they do. They find young Jedi that might be Jedi, and they either recruit them or kill them. But because the reason he never gives them lightsabers is so that they can never be a real threat to him, kind of thing.
Yeah.
Like the way Palpatine never.
Because that's how Sith work.
Yeah, it's like if I the way Sidious trains Darth Maul to only be a fighter, not really with the Force. So the Darth Maul kind of sucks and could always get the shit kicked out of him.
What goes into building a lightsaber then? Like,
you need a kyber crystal and you need to like use the Force.
Use the Force. Whereas like you need a kyber because it chooses you, whereas the dark side, it's white turns red.
Wait, the crystal. Wait, so the crystals are related to the Force, isn't it?
Yeah. I felt Han's death was cheapened by the Force Ghost, to be honest.
And they just do repeat the scene and he chucks the lightsaber.
And then Luke's death scene as well, because Luke died. I'm not really a fan of the whole, like, Luke did the Force projection and then just died. But I do like the fact that he died. And, like, he died in the sun, and, like, that was all really nice. But then he's just back. And it's just like,
that he died in the sun like a dog? Like, I'm just gonna...
I understand what their problem was, that they said the problem with Luke is the moment he's on screen, everyone wants to pay attention to him. So if we ever do... So that's why Luke wasn't in Episode 7, because... If Luke's in Episode 7, where's the audience?
Yeah,
and if you're watching it linearly, you want to look at it. I kind of would have went differently going, I wouldn't have minded if the first film was the last trip for the old guard, and then we transition.
Yeah, like he would kind of like lightsaber
kind of the way Han almost did, but yeah.
Yeah, because I know the original script by the guy who did Toy Story 3 was very much that. But the problem was that whenever you want people to go, no, look, Rey's pretty cool, like everyone reading the script or whatever would just be like, yeah, but everyone's just going to want to pay attention to Luke. And we would have. We all would have just wanted to pay attention to Luke.
Yeah.
So it's Luke. And I guess it's kind of... Also, I know it's... The fact that the blaster blind thing is now official Jedi training, where I always... And I know everyone at Plinkett...
No, that was just so that they didn't have to use CGI the whole time. So that they could only show their face with CGI perfectly framed.
Rey has it. And also Rey destroys the...
Again, that's just so they can use the lighter, so they can cover the CGI, I reckon.
But Rey destroyed the practice. Why destroy it? Have you got loads?
Oh, yeah. Like, stabs it. Like, and they're a resistance. They shouldn't have unlimited training droids and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But again, that whole training thing was shit. I think we already covered that.
That was just JJ going, no, look, she's training, it's fine. Like, it's just him covering that.
Okay. They didn't even show Rey training, really. They kind of tell you that Rey has
They showed her doing the Crash Bandicoot assault course.
Fuck. But that's sort of the whole thing, like, instead of actually, like...
Even though it took 10 hours to fucking get off and grab
I'm sure it's really helpful. But, like, that's the thing, it's like, they don't want you to see Rey train, because they don't have time, they've got 2 movies to give you. So they just kind of say, by the way, Rey trained. Or, like, here's the start of the training. Oh, I think she even says, I'm going to run the...
Again.
I'm going to run the training course again.
Finish it today, yeah.
Because that's the thing, it's like, they want her to have trained, but they don't want to train her. Because that's bad effort, and also I'm really still mad at everyone calling him Palpatine.
Yeah, did they even mention Sidious once?
No one ever calls him Palpatine in any movie except we only find out it's Palpatine in the prequels.
Yeah.
Whereas in the
he's not even called Sidious in the original. He's called the Emperor.
Yeah, it's literally he's just the Emperor. Whereas everyone calls him by his I guess last name, but it's just like Palpatine isn't a threatening name. But everyone keeps saying Palpatine.
It really just feels like they were making this film you know when George famously said I best finish this script. They're already building sets. Like it felt like that. Where JJ and Chris Terrio, who poor guy, he wrote Argo, and then he kind of gets. Look, that's the thing. Screenwriters, there's some screenwriters who've got every screenwriter has great movies attached and bad movies attached. And Chris Terrio has some good movies, but he also has like Batman v Superman, and now this. And they both kind of have the same problem, which now people who don't understand filmmaking are going to go, it's his problem. He keeps jamming too many things in his scripts. I don't think these films are going to be... But then I know they're for kids, but I guess the original trilogy is always just going to be the holier than thou. They're never going to recapture it.
Yeah.
Stop trying, just do something different.
That's the thing. At least the prequels kind of enrich the lore, whereas I don't think this adds anything.
I rather would have just had I rather would have just had either... I think I would have just liked a Rian Johnson trilogy than just
It just needed to be someone doing all 3.
Yeah, like a JJ trilogy would at least have got what this was, but in one film. Because that film would have ended with her being told she's a Palpatine. Because they even had a very Empire moment where it's, you're a Palpatine, she thinks about falling off the edge, then the Falcon comes and she gets saved.
Yeah, I was waiting for her to just go...
I thought that would finally be the fucking moment where she becomes Darkseid Rey, and I guess I also thought that maybe in JJ's version they would have crossed over. That Kylo would have went good, and then Rey would have went bad, and then Rey would have been the villain, because then she would have been Palpatine's daughter, came to take the throne. I would have. And then who are all these people who are just in Palpatine?
Oh, in the crowd? Yeah, Palpatine's like go-go dancers, I don't know.
Yeah.
Because they never say where they're from.
And when he powers up, colour appears in his clothes all of a sudden.
Then they kind of say like that he's, like that they're all Sith or something, but also where are they from? And they're obviously not people from the ships, because earlier on, the First Order literally says, we're going to need to double recruitment or something. And like, because obviously Palpatine made a bunch of ships, but didn't give them pilots or like crew.
Yet they're all activating, so it's just like who?
And then
who's flying them? And because if you start recruiting now with all the other worlds, you're not going to have enough people.
Did you like how they just killed Hux off?
Oh, I mean, I don't like the fact that he was a little bit for the rest of it. If he was forefronted and then someone just shot him in the chest, it would have been like, holy fuck, alright.
Who's this guy, like, stepping up to play?
Yeah,
Richard E. Grant was wasted.
Richard E. Grant was already like,
he's a great actor, he is.
Well, yeah, but why is he here? Unless you're right and he's in 6 or something like that. Because he does the line where he's like, I'll serve you like I served you in the old times.
Yeah, I don't remember him.
But like, where was he from? Because Palpatine got sent out well, everyone else got blown up.
Yeah, in my head, and I guess Palpatine just recreated himself.
Unless they're saying Richard E. Grant was the guy that oversaw the cloning of Palpatine.
No, I really just think they threw that in there just to say why he's done it, because he's not anyone in episode 6.
He's definitely not anyone else.
I was trying to think, because it was Piet who was in the Superstar Destroyer, and he died, but there was another admiral.
But pretty much everyone died.
But I don't remember how he died.
And they would have definitely hunted down.
That would have been a fun idea if
he
maybe the actors are dead, but it would have been fun if maybe they could have got someone from the old movies on the Imperial side, who was the OG. Yeah. I should be in charge of the ship.
Wait, no, the guy who's in charge of the second Death Star, does he die? The one that
he's on the second Death Star,
double our efforts,
because the Death Star blows up real good.
Was he on the Death Star?
Probably. I don't know. I really don't think there's. And then he gets. And little things like Benicio del Toro's character
I thought he was coming back. I had heard a thing that he was coming back.
Nah, he literally. So that was Ryan. Which always like Ryan. Just his whole point was like, yeah, you think it's going to be the smuggler with a heart of gold, but it's not. That's it.
I never thought it was going to be the smuggler with a heart of gold.
He sounded,
He sounded evil, and he was like already in prison, and he's like, "I'll get you out of here." And then he starts telling Finn about like his moral ambiguity, how he's like, "Everyone's evil, fuck it." I'm like, obviously you're going to betray them the first chance you get. Like this is not.
Yeah, so I guess I guess it's like this whole trilogy is going to be remembered as being the one they didn't plan, and I know that the original. Because the first Star Wars sits by itself, then episodes 5 and 6 were at least kind of written, thought about together at least.
Yeah.
But with this...
Well, George wrote apparently George wrote like 12 movies or something. We don't have to like build anything. Like he made a lot of good decisions. And then
George is a great ideas guy.
He's a world builder. Like he's literally like, what if there was a trade?
Which always weirds me out. I understand that it's nice as a creator to have control over everything, but it always weirds me out that George didn't.
It needed to be.
We're doing Phantom Menace. Who wants to direct? Who wants to write? And I'll just be George about it. Yeah. I know he wanted Spielberg to direct.
Even just one extra part. Well, that's the thing. The best mates. They would have been like the ridiculous duo.
It's going to be great. It's going to be great.
If Spielberg wanted to direct sci-fi ever.
Yeah,
or fantasy, I guess.
Yeah, and like I guess it's just with this that Disney just really wanted these films pumped out, and they did it.
That's what it comes down to for me. It's like I think if the original cast was already dead or too old, we would have just got a reboot. We wouldn't have got like it would have been better.
And those films were 3 years.
Not a reboot. Sorry, it would have been different. But
like those original trilogies were 77, 80, and 83.
Yeah.
And I was here with this going like. It's weird that Star Wars won't be, because I mean we all remember how excited we were with Force Awakens. Like that was exciting.
Yeah.
Like that was like a big event, and then like it dawned on me then going, it's never going to be this exciting, because Star Wars is going to be a regular thing for everyone, and it's never going to end anymore, and we're never going to see the end to it.
That's not like the First Order TIE fighters now have.
That's the same.
The hyper. Like jump thing.
Yeah, they're saying
what did you think about
skip?
This goes down with the other Force powers. Hated it. Because, like, you're meant to do a bunch of calculations where you're like, okay, I'm not going to run into a star. Because hyperdrive in the Star Wars universe isn't you disappear here and you reappear here. It's you go from A to B. There's a bunch of stuff in space. The further you go, the more likely you are to hit
That's why they have hyper lanes.
Yeah.
So
which is why you literally have to do calculations. Whereas, and he's saying I'm hyperdrive skipping, and he's stopping like 10 meters from something, going from light speed to nothingness. Whereas in The Force Awakens, it was super dangerous even getting near a planet at light speed.
Yeah, I guess my summary is that it could have been a lot worse, and I really don't think it could have been any better considering what he had to do.
See, I don't think it could have been any worse.
Yeah, I think it. I was surprised that. Yeah, I think considering that he literally had to pick up all the pieces again, and there was nothing to go off for the final film of a trilogy of a saga. He had nothing to go off.
But is it worth the money to you? Like,
because Ryan and all the producers who said okay to Ryan killed everything in that film. Like, and I think that was just a dumb idea.
Yeah.
So and either you have to double down on what Ryan wanted to do, because Ryan initially was set to write and direct episode 8 and 9. So there is some script of Rian Johnson out there somewhere for episode 9. And either you double down on that, try and make it work, or you do what they did and they tried to retcon, circumvent, so that when you watch this as a trilogy, it's revealed that no, you see that like in The Last Jedi, that like that's why that's that way, because in episode, and I suppose overall, like I think when we watch this trilogy, it's going to feel really weird and different when you watch these films. It's going to be like they all feel distinctly different, like the original trilogy do, but not in a good way.
Yeah. So put a number on it, or like, is it worth the money? Like, would you recommend someone sees it?
If you're a Star Wars fan, obviously it's worth going in. I'm not going to tell anyone that you shouldn't bother watching a Star Wars film, because everyone likes Star. If you're not into Star Wars, then okay, wait until it's out on Disney Plus or whatever. But I'd say if you've came this far, it's
might as well keep going.
You might as well keep going. And there's some nice fan servicey, like it's low hanging fruit fan service. But look, when the X-wing came out of the water, I was pretty chuffed.
Yeah,
you know,
I saw the X-wing and TIE Fighter. I was like, when I see like a resurgent Star Destroyer,
yeah, like look,
Imperial One, I was
when Luke was like, look, like I know you're saying when Rey should, isn't he? But when Luke's there bringing it out
immediately.
You know, and I'm there going, oh yeah, because Luke in episode 5 never could do it, and Yoda did it. Now he's done it, and that was Luke. Yeah, like that did twinge on the other fan, but that's what they wanted to do. So so it's style over substance. But I guess overall, I'm glad I don't have to think about Star Wars anymore. And
I don't think there's any point in watching these. I don't think it does anything or satisfy anyone.
It doesn't add, I guess I'm now sitting here because Rian Johnson now coincidentally came out and did an interview where he said he wants films the way Empire did do things that back then people would have been like, wait, what? Which now we just go, yeah, that's just Empire. Most people watching Star Wars already know Darth Vader's his dad. Like it's weird to think, but you know, most of us already know that. Like on auto. So I guess for me, you're right. It's that this trilogy didn't offer anything new, and its themes and ideas have been done in the previous trilogy, and that weirdly, I might say it's worth watching the prequels because they are different.
They're world built.
They work, and they are poorly shot. They are poorly made, but they've got, each and every one of them has some pretty cool moments in them, and
you're talking about the OG ones,
yeah,
right?
the prequels, the bad ones, the prequels.
Yeah, but not these ones.
Yeah, but these ones, I honestly straight up say across all 3 films, there's not a moment where, I like on occasions looking up a Game of Thrones scene when Tywin Lannister talks to Joffrey. There's not a single, and I'm not saying this is quite a quality of a film, but there's never a moment which Star Wars usually does have. Remember when, like in A New Hope? Remember when they're just mucking about in the Death Star? Remember when they're like shooting when they get off the Death Star, then they're in the gunfight? Yeah. And like, you know, hey, I got one, don't get cocky, kid. There's no moments like that in this trilogy.
Yeah.
Like, there's no great sequences of actions.
There's not even any good character moments.
Yeah, and even the prequels have some good, like, sequences.
Yeah. Oh, that's something. The prequels are ridiculously quotable. But also, this movie in general, I hated it. I don't think if you like The Last Jedi, don't see this movie. Like, that's how far I'd go. Like, just pretend it doesn't exist.
Like, so are you in the because that's been the general. If you hated The Last Jedi, you'll love this one. Like that's the.
You see, I don't. Okay, you see, I.
It's such a fan divide.
Because I'm 50-50. Because I'm like, I liked a lot of The Last Jedi, but I also hated a lot of The Last Jedi. But I think if I were to, like, if someone told me, or like, if I knew that I would have hated Last Night as much as I did, I would not have seen it. I would have eventually, but I wouldn't have like.
She went midnight.
Yeah.
Was there fan cheers for you then? Because you.
No, we booked out a cinema. So
of course.
I did this, and no one could be. Yeah. No one clapped. Someone did. One clapped as like a joke, but yeah, no one talked, no one clapped.
Because I was unfortunately that guy because I sarcastically, horrified, laughed at the guard medal thing.
At the what thing?
That to me was like I think you can when Chewie gets his medal.
Oh yeah, no.
For me, that was I think.
I leant forward and I was
Plink it with you, whatever, like that moment will summarise this whole trilogy.
Yeah.
It will be, no, look, here it is, here's your gold medal, fans.
Remember that one
here
from 40 years, like 26 years ago that
fans,
you should have gotten?
Kids who are watching these in order will not get, because that's just a long-standing joke.
Yeah.
Like, that's the equivalent of hand shooting someone and going, you know me, I always shoot first.
Yeah.
Like that's the equivalent of that.
Sure.
Yeah, which they did do in Solo, but yeah, they did do it in Solo. Forget it then. Yeah.
But yeah, like I can't recommend this movie at all. Like honestly, I hate it.
I actually want to watch Solo.
I would like. I'll probably do like an update and be like, I'll see it again and be like, update. I hated it less, or like I hate it more. But like I did not. I can't think of anything I like.
The Last Jedi had ideas. This doesn't.
Yeah.
I had a weird sort of like Stockholmed into kind of being alright after the first hour. I was like, oh yeah, there are some nice character moments in that. Oh no, actually everything's shit again. I don't like it.
That was me too.
But yeah. The whole MacGuffin hour, like when it's like they're searching with these MacGuffins, which I still don't fucking get.
It's always something they need to find in this new one. There's no like. It's not even we need to defeat Snoke. It's we need to find this so that we can do this, so we can do this, so then we can kill Snoke. But also the little cone robot is literally just to sell toys because. They say like, oh, he gave us all the information we needed for an assault on this place, except for where it is, and then C3 Rey's like, I know where it is, and like get fucked.
Elixirs?
Elixirs? Exit-y something.
The stupidest
basically
name.
End. It meant it sounded like
just go back to Morriban. That'd be great.
Just fucking Mustafa.
When I first saw that lava planet at the start of the, I was like, Mustafa, come on, let's go. And it wasn't. I was like,
yeah, where Darth Vader was born, and where Darth Vader lives in Rogue One.
Like,
Darth Vader's like, I'm gonna go back to the place I fucking got fucked up in. That's what I'm going back to.
And then they're like, nah.
But it's like, no. And it's like, oh.
But anyway, so basically, it's only worth the money if you're a Star Wars fan? Is that what you
were going with? Star Wars fan, so yeah.
I'm not.
You're out? Because I'm the same. I would not recommend this movie.
If you've came this far, you've watched episode 7 and 8, you're going to watch it
but
anyway.
Also,
I can't not make
you could just like save your kids the pain and be like, just like going to tell my kids there's only 6 Star Wars movies.
I would say do that.
That's my views currently. Because I'm like, I enjoyed Force Awakens. And I liked half of Last Jedi. Didn't like any of this movie. So it just got worse and worse. And I'm just beaten down.
And going off of your thing of there's not even one single moment that you would go, I want to look at that scene again, that was great. And if you have not a single moment across
The Last Jedi,
technically 4 films, but 3 for this part that's continuing.
No, because there's 2 movies in one.
Oh no, because Rogue One was new, but it's part of the old stuff.
No, well, Rogue One even
saying, like
no, Rogue One. I've watched the Darth Vader hallway thing. Like that's a cool little.
But that's also because they realized their movie sucked. And
I like ships. Ships is my weak point, and Rogue One had ships.
Yeah.
And so did this film.
If you made 3.5, considering this last one's 2 films in one, and you don't have a single moment that people would want to rewatch, then it's been for nothing. There's been no point to this.
The Last Jedi champions love the fucking Rey, Kylo back-to-back stuff. They love
But also, it's a terrible fight scene from a stunt. From a stunt point of view.
They had no time.
Well, actually, Kylo's side's pretty good. Kylo does quite well, but then you like, if you were to cut it down the middle,
yeah.
1 in a million. Forget about it.
Yeah, 1 in a million. But like, I haven't heard in cinema so quiet in my life when that happened.
That's because the movie goes quiet.
Yeah.
But also episode 2, when like the seismic charges go off, everything goes quiet and it goes which is better in my opinion than
it's way better.
I'm so glad they're putting that in Battlefront.
No, you're spot on. Like it's the same. It's I'm left here going this trilogy because they did. it's so satisfying when Tony Stark says I'm Iron Man and he accepts his figure.
That's a fucking ending.
Like, because that's a decade's worth. That's him tying the bow on his art. It's wonderful. And I know they didn't plan it. They just stumbled on it. Because they're good filmmakers. Because they planned it for years in advance. Because they know what needs to be done. Because this stuff is a house of cards. If you gave the fucking Russo brothers a Star Wars trilogy, they would have knocked it out of the park.
No, I was going to say, because I'm trying to figure out why. Because there's things that they could have done really well. Like, there's a lot in doing stuff with, like, Kylo and Rey's relationship. There's stuff in it that they could really done a great job with.
But they had to do it.
But they didn't. They just didn't deliver on anything.
And they had to do it in 8. They did because they ended 8 the way they did. Kylo and Ren for me was pretty much Kylo and Rey was pretty much dead. So it's like.
Yeah. So like. That's, to me, it's like, that's why everything's insignificant, because it's not like there's nothing in the films, yet they've done nothing.
There's a lot in the films, but nothing happens.
Yeah, and that's its overall issue, is that it just
This was its own weird film. It didn't feel like the end of a trilogy. It felt like
didn't feel like the end of a saga. It should have been the end of 9.
It felt like because it opens like it's part 2.
Yeah.
Everything's also like, I just personally, but then also, so much was going on that I couldn't quite grasp my own dynamics in this film, but like it felt like everything was on such a big scale it had nowhere to go, and it was just constant grandioseness, and I'm like, I can't.
It opens with that,
and then it opens with a really shitty scene of like Kylo Ren in slow-mo killing people, but it's really zoomed in and he's not doing anything cool. So we usually do slow-mo, it's because you do cool things, but instead it's just really shitty slow-mo.
He'll kill someone.
Yeah, but like zoomed in, you can't see it, and like he should have been cutting fucks in half. But yeah.
Once we got to the whole lightning come shot in the air, like that part to me was like, oh, okay, cool, we're doing something. This is shit. Yeah. Like, yeah, this is bumping it up, and everything's gonna fall to shit because we've just had this build of hope. And then it was like, oh no, it just meddled a little bit of the tech. Like they just went a little, it's fine.
That's exactly what it. Like I was like, oh shit, all the ships in the fall.
And then Anakin just sat there for a bit going, it's working, and then they went back to fighting.
Yeah.
Cool. Like, because I know because he's movie emperor, and he never loses his lightning hands. But in the Clone Wars and in other things, Palpatine, I know I'm going to sound so.
Even in Episode 3, he has a lightsaber.
He's pretty good with the lightsabers.
Yeah.
And like, so it really got on my nerves that there's a really bad blocking where like Rey and Kylo are just there going, got you now, and then he just goes, nah, fuck off.
Yeah.
And you're saying that's only him at his weakest, where he's like, but he can.
Because you can see even under his robes and stuff, he's got like this big silver shit and cords running over him. So like even his chest needs to be.
Theory, if Kylo and Rey are strung together, and now on the same side, surely they're meant to be like ultra power when they're like.
What if they have 3 lightsabers?
It's like God plus.
Yeah, and like the emphasis of the lightsaber, which is meant to just simply be an elegant weapon from a different time, and it's not really.
I'm glad they didn't make it turn.
But
color.
So you wouldn't.
I'm so glad.
You wouldn't recommend, or you would recommend.
Because you're the one that likes the film.
Yeah, you liked it the most out of all 4.
Yeah, I probably do like the more out of all 4 of you. But that's
why do you like it? There you go.
But that's only because I'm biased. I like references and I like ships. It gave me references.
So you think ships? So the fan service is what carried you through?
The fan service carried me through.
Okay, you see, again, that's fan service kind of gets on my nerves when it's done. If it's done subtly, I love it. Like in Force Awakens, even when like he's pulling out stuff and he pulls out the training droid, I'm like, haha, I love it.
No, but that's the thing, isn't it? So in Force Awakens, he accidentally turns on the chess game.
Yeah.
And they just want the full understanding.
But they don't zoom in on the chessboard, and he's not like, I wonder what this chessboard's for.
Yeah.
Like that's what these movies are doing now.
I think, for me, not a fan, someone who's kind of gone into it not really remembering anything of the past, as the whole trilogy itself,
not really.
I'm like...
Not really.
But just retcon the past if you have to.
It pays off people who want the fan service, right? And that seems to be the only people it's paying off for. So they've
because Tristan's the biggest fan.
Well, they've cut themselves off from developing a new audience. It's solely the people from before, and they've not tried to go, okay, how can we reboot it for a modern audience? What can we do here and this? And they've just fucking done nothing.
They've got kids anyway, because the reason why the prequels are kind of going up, because the people like us, even...
we're showing our kids and we're forcing our kids to
and like there's kids like Jar Jar, and he was right. Kids
I
like
liked
Jar
him
Jar.
when
I like Jar Jar. I like Jar Jar.
I did the rewatch. I did my 24-hour marathon of every Star Wars movie, and
he's not.
I was like, Jar Jar's not that bad.
I liked the size of being a giant.
Avoid the movie. No, I'm kidding. We all have different opinions because that's Assholes.
I'm more interested in what the internet review culture is going to say about this film.
Well, we're part of it now.
Yeah, yay!